welcome to Planet Pulse on Firstpost. The Earth is constantly changing, and in recent years, for the worse. Summers are getting hotter and winters harsher. Rising sea levels, floods, drought, wildfires, and torrential rain have been disrupting lives across continents. The fight against climate change is needed now more than ever. On this show, we bring you all the top stories on the climate crisis, its causes, its brutal effects, and the warriors helping to fight the menace. Japan is battling its largest wildfire in 5 decades. The blaze has burned for more than a week now, raging through the heavily forested area of the small coastal city of Ofunato. At least 5,200 acres of land have been torched. More than 80 buildings have been damaged. At least one person has died, and about 4,600 people have been evacuated. As firefighters struggle to control the flames, officials warn that things are expected to get worse. What's behind this record-breaking wildfire? Our next report tells you.
Orange skies, plumes of smoke, and dozens of people rendered homeless as Japan's largest wildfire in 5 decades continues to rage. This is the city of Ofunato. It lies on Japan's northeast coast, and for more than a week, wildfire has burned through the heavily forested area of this small coastal city. The blaze has torched more than 5,200 acres of land. More than 80 buildings have been damaged, and at least one person has died.
I can't go back home, so I have no idea how my house looks like now.
When we were evacuating, the fire was approaching our house, so I think our home is probably burning down and would be gone.
About 4,600 people have been evacuated. Officials are scrambling to control the fire. More than 2,000 firefighters from all over Japan are battling the blaze. At least 16 helicopters have been deployed, with aircraft dumping water onto the burning hills.
Some students are very discouraged and heartbroken by the fire. One showed me a picture of their house burning down and said to me, "There's nothing left." Another said, "Even if I get into a high school, I don't know where I could stay for that."
On Wednesday, rain and snow offered some relief to Ofunato. Columns of white smoke billowed over the mountains. But the wet weather has done little to quell fears. Troops are struggling to control the flames, and authorities warn that the wildfire is likely to spread. The question remains, what's behind this wildfire? While the exact cause of the blaze remains unclear, experts say that climate change is most likely to blame. Like most countries, Japan recorded its hottest year in 2024. Plus, January to March is typically Ofunato's driest season. But this year, it was the driest in decades. The area saw less rainfall last month than any February in more than 20 years. Ofunato recorded 2.5 millimeters of rainfall, falling well below the usual average of 41. And experts say climate change is a major factor behind this hot, dry weather. Japan is not an isolated case here. On the opposite side of the Pacific, California witnessed something similar a few weeks ago, when global warming made hot and dry weather conditions about 35% more likely, fueling the devastating Los Angeles fires, killing at least 29 people, destroying more than 10,000 homes, and displacing about 150,000 residents. After all, climate change is supercharging disasters. Wildfires are moving faster, burning hotter, and becoming more frequent. According to studies, both the frequency and intensity of extreme wildfires have more than doubled in the last 2 decades. But as climate action remains lacking and fires rage on the world over, leaving residents grappling with loss, it's becoming increasingly clear that more extreme disaster records are waiting to be broken.
Donald Trump sits in the Oval Office in Washington, D.C., but his policies are reshaping lives thousands of miles away in Pakistan's Jacobabad. Here, where temperatures soar beyond 50 degrees Celsius, survival depends on one thing: water. But now the city's lifeline is slipping away. For over a decade, a US-funded water system provided clean drinking water to over 350,000 people. But with Trump's abrupt foreign aid freeze, that supply is at risk. Pumps may shut down, pipes may run dry, and families may be left with no choice but to drink contaminated water. Pakistan, already battered by climate change, now faces a crisis it didn't create. More details in our next report.
Even though Donald Trump sits in the White House, his decisions have ripples far beyond American borders. His policies shape lives in ways unimaginable, and sometimes in places he has never set foot on. And one such place is Jacobabad, Pakistan, one of the hottest cities on earth. Here, under an unforgiving sun, survival depends on something most take for granted: water. But now, Trump's foreign aid freeze threatens to take even that away. And Jacobabad isn't just hot, it's deadly. It's like a city on fire. Temperatures here regularly soar past 50 degrees Celsius, making it nearly unlivable. For its 350,000 residents, hope comes from a single lifeline: a municipal water system which is funded partly by a $66 million US aid grant. This system pipes in 1.5 million gallons of purified water daily from a canal 22 kilometers away. And without it, many have no other option but to drink contaminated water, or water laced with arsenic and disease.
कि सिटी जैकबाबाद बहुत ही हॉटेस्ट सिटी है पाकिस्तान की। यहाँ पर अगर गर्मियों में हमें ये पानी नहीं मिला तो हमें बहुत ही मुश्किलात का सामना करना पड़ेगा। आप देखें कि पानी जो है एक ज़िंदगी का हिस्सा है। पानी के बगैर तो हम नहीं रह सकते ना, इंसान हो या जानवर हो या कोई भी हो, तो पानी मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट है हमारे लिए।
But Trump's decision to freeze US foreign aid has shattered this fragile balance. Among the halted funds was $1.5 million meant to keep the city's water system running. Without it, the city faces a crisis of unimaginable scale.
अगर ये प्रोजेक्ट बंद हो रहा है तो इसके बहुत बड़े बुरे असरात लोगों की लाइफ पे होंगे, और उसके अदर सोर्स है जो वाटर वेंडर्स हैं लोकल, वो गधा गाड़े का पानी वो एज सच कंटामिनेटेड होता है, तो उसमें काफ़ी डिजीज़ भी लोगों को हो रही हैं।
Pakistan's Hands Foundation, which operates the water project, never received an official notice about the aid suspension. They found out from the news, and the shock was immediate. Within weeks, 47 employees, including specialists who maintained and purified the water, were laid off. And now, the project is in the hands of local authorities who lack the skills to sustain it.
Since everything is just suspended, so we have to withdraw our staff and we have to withdraw our all services for this water project.
Now, Trump's aid freeze isn't just hurting Jacobabad, it's dismantling US Aid, an organization that, since 1961, has been a global force in humanitarian aid. It has built schools, provided HIV treatment, and helped millions of refugees. And now, that work is being undone. On January 31st, a newly formed Department of Government Efficiency led by billionaire Elon Musk took over USAID operations. By February 1st, the agency's website was shut down. USAID Inspector General Paul Martin later warned that Trump's abrupt freeze left $489 million worth of American food aid at risk of spoiling. And the next day, Martin was fired. Meanwhile, in Jacobabad, desperation is growing. The Hands Foundation warns that unless another funder steps in, the water supply will collapse. With Pakistan already suffering from climate disasters, this could trigger a humanitarian catastrophe.
आम पानी है जो वो बीमारियां पैदा करता है, आम पानी है जो वो अंदर पता नहीं क्या क्या लेकर आता है बीमारियां, और जो बीमारी होती है जब गरीब को तो ज़ाहिर है उसका खर्चा बढ़ता है, वो डॉक्टर के पास जाएगा तो उसको तकलीफ होगी. ये पानी जो है ये बीमारी के लिए भी बड़ा फायदेमंद है.
Yet, Pakistan is not the only one fueling climate change. It produces less than 1% of global greenhouse gas emissions, but it is paying the highest price. But unless something changes, unless another country, another organization or another leader steps up, Jacobabad's taps will run dry. And when they do, in the hottest city on earth, what happens next is too terrifying to imagine.
Can artificial intelligence help save the world's coral reefs? A team of researchers in the Indian Ocean is putting AI to the test, using sound to track, protect, and even restore fragile underwater ecosystems. From hydrophones recording reef symphonies to drones mapping ocean health. Here's our report on how technology is giving marine life a second chance.
Beneath the turquoise waters of the Indian Ocean, an army of silent sentinels is at work, listening, learning, and helping to rescue the fragile coral reefs. No, this isn't the plot of a futuristic sci-fi film. It is the reality of how artificial intelligence is revolutionizing marine conservation. At the forefront of this innovation is Reef Pulse, a multidisciplinary team using passive acoustics to monitor coral reef health in real time. Over the past 4 months, the team has deployed 8 hydrophones at a depth of 12 meters off the coast of St. Louis. This is to record the rich underwater soundscape, from the crackling of pistol shrimp to the calls of groupers. Every noise captured helps researchers understand the delicate balance of marine life. Traditional reef monitoring relies on visual surveys, which are time-consuming, expensive, and often limited to daylight hours. But sound travels far and wide underwater, offering a constant 24/7 window into the reef's activities. By analyzing the collected audio data, Reef Pulse can detect changes in biodiversity, pinpoint stress signals, and even explore ways to restore degraded reefs.
The challenge is to detect when things are going well and when they're not, how certain areas are evolving, and then to respond with management measures. These management measures can be as simple as restricting access, preventing fishing in certain areas, etc., but they can also include active ecosystem restoration measures. We're all familiar with coral propagation, the immersion of artificial reefs, but with acoustics, there are also restoration possibilities.
The sheer volume of data collected is staggering. Over 500 terabytes of underwater audio have been recorded so far, an amount impossible for humans to analyze manually. This is where AI steps in. Advanced machine learning algorithms process years' worth of sound in minutes. They help in identifying species, tracking behavior changes, and even flagging early signs of reef degradation.
From the
SD cards, which range in size from 512 gigabytes to 1.5 terabytes, that we retrieved directly and uploaded to the server, we have now accumulated over 500 terabytes of data. This represents a significant amount of information, spanning years of audio. Humanly, it would be very difficult to set up the means to listen to all of it. This is where artificial intelligence and our traditional signal processing algorithm tools can help process years of data in a few minutes or hours, depending on the tools and analyses we need, such as on volume or the presence of certain fish species.
And it's not just Reef Pulse making waves in AI-powered conservation. At the French Institute for Ocean Science in Laporte, PhD student Matteo Contini is developing AI-driven mapping system. Using drone footage and autonomous camera boards, he has collected thousands of images of Indian Ocean reefs, creating real-time maps of reef health.
So in the future, we could imagine a model that takes images, sound, and maybe other types of data at the same time, like temperature and salinity, and processes all of this information simultaneously to refine the results, predictions, and provide parameters on the state of the reef at a given moment in time.
Beyond monitoring, AI is now being explored as a tool for active reef restoration. Studies in Australia and Florida have shown that playing healthy reef sounds can attract fish and coral larvae to degraded areas, effectively repopulating damaged reefs. Reef Pulse hopes to take this a step further by using AI to fine-tune these soundscapes and create optimal conditions for reef recovery.
I find that really fascinating, and I can't wait to put the devices underwater, set up the speakers, and see how it works. We're excited about it.
Despite its promise, AI-powered reef conservation is still in its early stages. The challenge now is scaling up these technologies, reducing costs, and automating processes. This is to make them accessible worldwide. As climate change continues to threaten coral reefs, these silent underwater listeners might just be the key to saving some of the ocean's most biodiverse ecosystems.
And that's it on Planet Pulse for today. We will see you again next week. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned to Firstpost.
Hi, how are you?
Very well, thanks.
Thank you for being here.
Namaste, Mr. President.
Bharat Kelogan, Kumeri Namaste.
How many people generally follow you in interviews?
Typically in a month, we have viewers up to 150 million. That's more than twice the population of France. And in the last 2 years, we had 3 billion viewers. So I say, Laurent, this is your chance to be famous. You're on Firstpost. One word to describe your equation with Prime Minister Modi.
Amitié.
As India and France work together, are you creating a new era of non-alignment in the technology space?
India is a training superpower. 1 million engineers a year, more than all of Europe and the US combined. So we have that partnership. We have a partnership on the environment and the economy. We also have civilian nuclear programs, and that is something we've developed far beyond the France-India relationship. So we want to work together on AI.
And then comes China with its DeepSeek, creating models at a fraction of the cost. Did that innovation take you by surprise? Did that breakthrough make you sit up and think, what did the Chinese do and how?
But what did DeepSeek do? They took everything that was already available from the last AI model and then they recalibrated it.
So are you going to ban Chinese AI in France?
So we don't have this American approach of banning tech because of where it comes from.